even with the bluest of skies, there's still a darkness hanging over it. Hey everybody, welcome back to more Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 2. I'm SlayerMathis, and last time, we reached Celdic. The provincial army burned it. It's in ruins now. This time, we're gonna keep making sure of everyone. If everyone's okay, if things are fine, how people are doing. My house was burned down. There's nothing left of it. Our house was set on fire during the attack. I meant to escape safely, but where will we go now? They did nothing to deserve any of this. But now it's a ruin. The Jaegers took advantage of the chaos, set fire to as much of the town as possible. We tried to put it out as fast as we could, but everything used to stand tall and proud out here in Celdic, and now it's in shambles and ruins and disarray.
No!
This is just awful.
Just seeing the Grand Market, which really had the first interesting thing that happened in the game, aside from the prologue, in the series. Well, the Cold Steel series, not the Hero series, it's only series. But seeing this where basically everything started and now it's in ruins, it's a beautiful piece of game design. We've always been looking out for Trista. That's where we spent them in the series so far. It's Liz. But Celdic's really the first place that you truly get to explore. The first place that feel like just a set piece. And we've always been chasing after Trista. Trista's always been the place where we've wanted to go back to. We wanted to go back to Thor's because it was familiar to us. But Celdic was always there as a relief. It's the first place we go to in this game. It's, well, aside from Ymir, it's the first place that we go to look for people. It's the first time we reunite with any of our friends. It's the first place we liberate. Celdic's a place of firsts in this series. It's, again, it's the first place you go to in almost every stretch of every game so far. And by destroying it, and doing so in such a way that the scenery is completely changed. Even if the people aren't changed much, you still have the same familiar faces for the most part. You can recognize certain people, but it's the scenery that you really get drawn to. It's the market where you go to and you hang out with Elf and you hang out with Toe, with Elliot, where you do a detective mystery in the very first field study. And it's in ruins. This is an amazing part of this game. And it's probably my favorite part. Just seeing everything change like this, these quiet moments in JRPGs are what really, I think, make them transcend any sort of thing outside of it. JRPGs are a unique medium. They're very long games. We're 50 hours in, and we still have a long way to go. They can tell this unique story. They can set up places as something that you remember. The places become a character. Celdic is a character in and of itself. Trista is a character of itself. And we essentially just saw that character get killed. So,
Wasn't that the rest area?
People used to play music there.
what I might do, I'm not certain about this, but I might go back and get all the active voice lines. I don't know if I will. Sadly, I am still a little bit lazy to bring things back up to mood a little bit. I am pretty lazy, but pretty much everyone has some sort of relation to Celdic. Whether it's the people that we were on our first field study with, whether it's Fee, Elliot, Machias, who were hiding out here for so long, Eusis, who was part of the ruling family of this region. It's a great part of the story. You all made it, I see. seen a lot during my time as a reporter, but this is the first time I've been left speechless. An atrocity like this can't be forgiven. Nobility or not, there's no excuse for such carnage. We failures as people if we let something like this pass. Do whatever I can to make sure this doesn't get covered up. No soldats tore the Grand Market asunder like it was nothing. The Kuwait was essentially our home. And yet here I am, unable to even work up the energy to be depressed. No, I took out a loan to procure the goods for my store. Why? Why did it come to this? Those huge machines, they came and destroyed the Grand Market. I was so scared. I don't want to ever see them again. Why? Why did this have to happen to you of all people, Otto? Don't tell me. We should go and check for ourselves before jumping to conclusions. Did you come to see the market manager? If so, head up to the second floor. Everyone else is already there. And all those familiar characters that we've seen hurt, injured, but still alive, still with a chance of making it. It's the bastion of it all. It's fallen. Please don't tell me. No. Why, Otto? Please come back to me! No way. You're all from Thoris, correct? You fell victim to one of the soldats' attacks while evacuating the townsfolk, I'm afraid. I did everything in my power to save him, and yet... I see. Yeah, we even got the chance to repay him for helping us while we were here. How could this happen? The market manager's always done everything he could to protect this town. Now he's went and give his life for us. No one loved this town more than Otto. It just goes to prove that. Why does things have to end up like this? What are we even supposed to do? The market manager did everything he could to protect us, even in his last moments. That's how it's always been too. We've always got by thanks to him. Why, idiots? Why'd you take the market manager from us? I can't believe he gave up his life to protect us. I hope you're happy, Duke Oberaya. If your aim was to terrorize us and take something from us that can never be replaced, then you must be. I did everything in my power, but it wasn't enough. At the very least, he seems to have passed on peacefully. We can only pray that Adios guides his soul to our side. Why, Otto? Please come back to me! He's resting in peace. Looks like he could wake up at any moment. The center of all the town. The person that everyone's been talking up. The person who we've seen for ourselves be an amazing person. Lost to the tides of a war that isn't necessary. To the bickering of people who don't matter. To the people who think they're above these consequences. It's obviously not a situation that can always be seen, but... And there's no situation exactly like this, at least not nowadays. Nobility is more or less gone. In a realistic context, for most of the world. But the fighting of individual people, the fight for who should control a country, it just tears people apart. It hurts innocent people like this. And even if not directly, even if some of those people upstairs went by unscathed by the fight itself, they still lost the center of their town. They lost a friend. He wasn't just their mayor, he wasn't just the manager, he was everyone's friend in town. And for what? Why did he have to go of all people? The market manager's up on the second floor. Sorry, I just said my goodbyes not long ago. And again, I praised the music choice last episode, but still, It's another thing that's a bit unique about JRPGs, is that they have this more cinematic soundtrack to them. They can bring in beats like this. This soft piano. This almost crying tune. Almost a lullaby. And it's really a death dirge for this town that I've talked about so much already this episode, is a character in and of itself. And we've seen characters die before. We saw G die in Game 1. Well, we didn't see him, but we heard about his death. We saw V die before our very eyes. But those felt impersonal. We've seen villains die before. And even though we might have gotten to know V a bit as a character, he still was a villain and a terrorist. No matter what, he's still going to have some opinions soured on him because he's against you. He's against your party. But this feels different. This feels like specifically targeting everything. This isn't just happenstance. This isn't on their own terms like V was. This is people's lives being ripped out from under them. And all that can happen, all that can be responded to, is this soft, soothing tone. This light to fill the silence, though. Those big robots came crashing into town out of nowhere, and just started destroying everything and anything. The market manager told me to run, and so I did, but then he... And the guilt people feel. Otto's the only one to die. But if it was anyone, he's the worst. He's everyone's rock in this town. No, no, stay away! Please leave the town alone! We are in the midst of assessing the situation. Please take any questions to Lieutenant General Craig. Celdic's always been this place close to your heart. And it's dead now. It's really all you can say about it. There's nothing more to it. Town is gone. But we have to make things right. Elliot. Dad, Major Neidhart. The RMP is here as well. Thank you for coming, everyone. I presume you're all contacted. That's right. It came as soon as we heard. Is this the work of who I think it is? It is as you suspect. It's done by none other than the Croydon Provincial Army's soldiers. That's absurd. For what reason? This can't be real. Unfortunately, it's very real. Apparently, it broke through a gap in our line of defense at the Twin Dragons Bridge. According to the report, there were a number of Jaegers in their ranks, too. Cabaret has been hiring the Northern Jaegers throughout this war. They're behind the attack on Emir, too. That explains things. Raising towns like this is one of their specialties. If they had Soldat supporting them, too, this couldn't have ended any other way. We haven't seen as fast as we could and managed to fight them off while evacuating the townsfolk, but they'd already retreated towards Berehard and formed a defensive line by the time the 4th Armored Division arrived. The townsfolk readily accepted us after the Provincial Army was forced to retreat from Twin Dragons Bridge. It's clear this was intended to punish them as an example to others. There's no excuse for what they've done here. That's what Rufus and Vita said, actually.
I beg to differ. The presence of Soldat's units on a battlefield makes a tremendous difference. What they may lack in firepower and armor compared to tanks, they make up for in mobility and versatility. But more important than even those factors is the psychological impact they have on our opponents.
We're only human. As such, we are as captivated as we are terrified of giant beings bearing human form.
Rufus said that. The fear this attack has instilled in these townfolk seems to be a testament to those words. Thanks to the Soldats, it's safe to say they succeeded in their aim. Even if the RMP felt somewhat powerless before them, especially because we couldn't prevent that fatality. I think the one fatality would be the market manager of all people. Regardless, we plan to strengthen our defenses here while preparing for countermeasures against Berehard. I'd advise you to keep your distance from Celdic for a while. to engrave this horrid sight into your minds, however. It's no mere minor conflict. It's an all-out war. Never forget that. Dad. The townsfolk to us. Do everything we can to support them. What are the measures to be taken against Brayheart? Something must be done, that much is certain. The other cults no value to the Alliance from a military perspective. It was clear to make an example of them. We won't let this go unpunished. A chance for retribution will come. They will pay. That's not to get yourselves caught up in it when that time comes. I don't think we have a choice in the matter, though. After seeing all of this, after what's been a safe place to return to, I don't think we can just let this stand. We can't just let this go unpunished. We can't let other people do it for us. We've got a decent grasp on the situation in Celdic now. Should we head back? There's no other choice. Rain! Where's my family? They're all safe, alright? Back Hugo. Told me to wait on board, didn't we? Sorry, but she insisted. You expect me to sit about knowing what's happened to my home? My family's safe, right? What about the market manager? Your family's alright. We saw them at the church. I can't say the same for the market manager, though. Oh, no, you're having a laugh, no? Wait! I forgot it, Rain. I'll make sure she returns to the Courageous. Thanks. We'll make our way back first, then. We have a lot to discuss regarding where to proceed from here. Indeed. Leaving Celdic in the Imperial Army's hands, they all went back to the Courageous. Processing both Otto's death and the state of Celdic proved to be difficult, but they had to face it. It was only after Becky and Hugo had returned that they decided to take off.
Still, this war seems to resemble the War of the Lions more by the minute. History tells us towns were set ablaze all across the country back then as well.
Really?
That is said to have been the case, yes. Although the situation back then is very different compared to now.
True enough. This war's been relatively bloodless in comparison, so something like this happening is a big deal.
Still, in the long term, this is bound to hurt the Alliance's cause more than it will help. That's why I'm finding it so hard to picture that Rufus would give the go-ahead to do it.
Think it's safe to say it was just Duke Alborea doing his own thing. He really seems to hate how Duke Cayenne's higher in practice than him in the Alliance.
I'm sorry, but this is where we part ways. Captain, please let me disembark somewhere nearby.
What? You can't be serious!
You're not thinking of trying to settle things with your father alone, are you?
I can't believe you would even entertain the thought. You need to take a deep breath and calm down before you do something you'll regret, Eustace. How dare you? Don't act like you know the first thing about what I'm feeling right now. As a member of the Alborea family, I have a duty to stop my father. You have no right!
We have every right to interfere, Eustace. This is clearly too much for one person to handle alone.
Machias is right. You need to calm down and we need to think this over together.
Yeah, this isn't like you at all.
As your classmates and friends, it's not hard to imagine how terrible you must be feeling right now. But that's exactly why we want to help you, and I believe we can.
We should discuss how to approach this matter together.
That's a Class 7 I know.
Still, this isn't a matter to be taken lightly. Your actions could have a profound effect on the war from here on out. If you're going to get yourselves involved, you're going to need to be prepared for the potential consequences. But I'm sure you guys know the deal at this point, right?
We fully understand what you're saying. So far, we've tried to keep our interference with the war itself to a minimum. However, what just happened in Celdic was an act of terrorism against innocent civilians. We can't turn a blind eye to that.
You're right. We're all agreed there. The market manager did a lot for us, both during our field study and when we were lying low there after the war broke out.
I'm of the same opinion. He may be head of one of the 4 great houses, but the Imperial family can still make him answer for his crimes. So please, Use my position and this ship however necessary to bring him to justice.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Alright, I think it's time we come up with a solid plan. We can't allow Duke Alborea to do anything so inhuman ever again.
Thank you.
Huh? Is there a call coming through?
Where's it coming from? Bear with me a moment. This can't be right. It's coming from an airship owned by the Noble Alliance.
How can that be?
They must have sneaked into range. What should we do, Toa? I think I can shake them off if I try.
No. Put the call up on the screen.
It's a pleasure to see you all again. Especially you, my dear brother. And Princess Alphen is with you too. Truly, it's an honor, Your Highness.
Rufus!
Goodness.
Why are you calling us?
I apologize for calling so abruptly. Rest assured, I have no intention of attacking or otherwise harming you. I'm calling because there is information of which I'd like to make you aware. Due to the rather sensitive nature of my message, this feed is a private communique from my personal airship.
What could you possibly have to tell us?
Does this concern Celdic by any chance?
It does indeed. I imagine all of you have seen what befell the town yourselves. The attack on Celdic was instigated by Duke Alborea alone. We of the Noble Alliance do not in any way condone it. If you plan to confront the Duke about his actions, you need fear no interference from us.
Huh? Oh, I get it. You want us to take him out, don't you?
Surely not.
The bulk of the Kreutzen Provincial Army is already under my control. The attack was carried out by a small contingent of soldiers who remain loyal to my father. At present, they've walled themselves up in Aurochs Fort along with him. With the aid of the Imperial Army, you ought to be able to take the fortress without much trouble.
This is insane.
They're not as well trained as the ones who are serving you, so you don't mind losing them, do you? I'm impressed at how cold-heartedly objective you can be, Mr. Chief of Staff.
Bet you'd love it if we ended up killing each other, so you'd have nothing to worry about, huh?
Nothing of the sort, Miss Clausel. Still, there's no denying my father's actions will be a millstone around the neck of the Alliance going forward. But considering the position I hold, I can't very well publicly oppose him. And that's why I figured I might bring up the matter with all of you. Well, I've said my part. Oh, and Eustace, this is an intensely family-centric affair, as I'm sure you realize. I'm very curious how you'll approach it. Well then, if you'll excuse me, I suppose I'll hope and pray for your success this once, as a sitting member of Thor's Board of Directors.
Nothing like using other people to do your dirty work.
There remains a real possibility that this is a trap.
Still, now we know the Alliance wants something done about Duke Alborea as much as we do. This could be the best chance we're ever going to get to stop him from wreaking more havoc.
I can't allow my father to commit any more of these unforgivable crimes. I will go to Aurochs Fort and apprehend Duke Alborea myself. And it would mean the world to me if all of you were to lend me your aid.
Do you even need to ask?
Of course we will. We'll be with you every step of the way.
With that, they finally began preparations to apprehend Duke Alborea. Duke Alborea's actions against Celdic were believed to be in violation of a number of Imperial laws. With that fact as justification, Class 7 chose to call upon the aid of the 4th Armored Division and RMP to formally place them under arrest. In the end, they settled on the following plan. First, the 4th Armored Division would attack Boreahard's northern line of defense. Meanwhile, the RMP would attack the city's southern line of defense, forcing them to call in for reinforcements from Aurochs. This would give Class 7 the opportunity to attack the fortress using the Courageous with relatively limited opposition. Once the fortress was under their control, they were to arrest Duke Alborea, after completing the mission. While this was all being finalized, the remaining touches were put to Valmar's reinforced sword. The operation proved to be an opportune time to test it and collect much needed data. Next day, the time came for the operation to begin. Well, the time's finally come. Is everyone ready to go? Of course. Can't let you just down. This is our chance to avenge Otto's death, too. Appreciate it. Just try and focus your thoughts on the operation for now. Don't worry about the other things later. I'll be right there with you. Looks like everyone's all fired up and ready to go. This will be our first chance to test Valmar's newly fortified weapon, too. How'd it turn out? Great, actually. And like Laura said, today's operation makes it the perfect chance to test it out in battle. I hope so. Be a good way to iron out the kinks, anyway. The more data I have, the better off we'll be making. Better off we'll be when it comes to making that Tachi. Guys, the 4th Armored Division and the Railway Military Police are almost ready to make their move. Let me know as soon as you're ready. The sooner the better. I'm coming with you. It doesn't sit right with me to have you guys going up against high-ranking Jaegers alone. There's no reason to let your guard down, though. Make sure you have everything you need. No problem. We will have 7 members of our party. We'll bring in Elliot, we'll bring in Elisa, we'll bring in William. Yeah, sure. Right, maybe. No, we'll do Fee. There. I think otherwise that's fine. Yeah. So, we have our operation, but we still have a few things that we can take care of around the Courageous before then. But, until then, see you guys later.